Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Dennis, and I want to welcome you to this special presentation. It's probably the most important that you will ever hear, because it affects all of us, everybody in the world. And I just learned about that issue this morning, and I thought we better get some information out to everyone and put it in archives so you can send your friends to the site, have them update themselves. We are talking about, folks, a major event that has been suppressed through the media and through all information outlets. I have with me a specialist who is totally knowledgeable. I'll ask her to explain her background. We're not going to use names at this point, but there are some pictures that will be attached probably later on. So you will be able to access those, and she will be describing those things as we go. If you're on the internet, you will be able to see the pictures as she goes along. I want to turn the time over now to a specialist who has considerable expertise, enough to impress me with the background and the knowledge that she has regarding this event. Folks, I can't urge you enough to contact your friends and family. Let them know about this immediately. Time is of the essence. In fact, we are out of time now to prepare for this. Okay, please proceed. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. My name's Patty Broussard. 7 years in the military, former sergeant, missile systems, communications, satellite uplinks, that sort of thing. Did a lot of work for NASA, as well as places like Lockheed Martin, Polaris, and whatnot. Built robots, all that. We currently have inbound our second sun. We are a dual sun system. Our second sun, it comes around every 32 to 3,600 years. There's been a cataclysm. That is why the remains of the pyramids and whatnot have been left behind during each successive. There's been 5 of them that we know of. Anyhow, our second sun is inbound with 7 planets. Now, NASA said was true. The sun is not going to come into system. In other words, it's not going to come in and plow into planets or anything. What it is going to do is it's got 7 planets, and their orbits overlap ours. And this needs to be prepared for as best you can. The dust that's being pushed ahead of it's already hitting us. And when it ramps up to enough of an impact, like it's doing to Mars right now, we're going to lose our electric grid. So if the electric grid goes down, we lose all our nuclear power plants. You need to prepare for that. Basically, it's underground or under Earth at the minimum. The reason for that is...
You're talking about surviving this event. We need to go underground or under Earth, okay?
The reason why is a pole shift has already started. It's going to complete during this event that's coming up. August is the month that things start getting really bad. They say August through November, roughly. But it's going to be 6 years of bad times. The reason why you need to be underground or in a cave or something of that nature, when the pole shift goes, we lose our magnetic shield. That means UVA, UVB, UVC coming directly from the sun, full blast, just like it is on Mars right now. It's going to be hitting the surface. You don't want to be out in that. As will microwaves from the sun.
Question, why have not we been informed about this?
50 years ago, NASA informed them of this. They built dumps, deep underground military facilities. They have enough room for the elite and the government. They've been building them for 50 years. That's where they're planning on hiding. And the heck with us. And they've been storing food and oxygen. And the past 2 years, they've been running the plants that make nuclear fuel rods to power their domes. 300 tons a year each. And actually, it's the making of the nuclear fuel rods is what destroyed the ozone, because they are exempt from the CFC laws. So they're going to leave the public on their own. Right now, as of today, they are stationing our troops around the dome entrances. And they've brought troops in from Israel and from Russia to deal with the public, because they won't be afraid to shoot at you. Do not riot. That's what they want. Obama wants to institute martial law to round up any people who protest and put them in the FEMA camps. That's what they were built for.
So they've known about all of this for a long time. They've prepared for themselves, and they're planning the extermination of the rest of us.
They want 500,000 people. That's on the Georgia Guidestone.
We need to put labels on them so we know what we're looking at.
Okay, the thermographic one, which is the blue one with the blue background and all the red on it, it shows 3 very hot objects. The one on the top, the middle top, the smallest one, that's Jupiter. And our sun is not in that picture at all, other than to say the biggest one is our second sun, which I'll call Sol too, because our sun is called Sol. The object to the right, that is the one that's bigger than Jupiter by at least 4 times. I won't be able to tell until it actually crosses through Jupiter's orbit, because these are still outside of Jupiter's orbit. But they are pushing a lot of debris, all that red stuff. That's hitting Mars already. It's being bombarded. I've put pictures up of Mars, of the debris hitting its atmosphere, what little it has of it, as well as a picture of the rover.
Picture with the white rings?
That one there. That's the pole of Mars, taken from orbit. But the one with the hole in the center, that's the debris hitting Mars' atmosphere, causing electromagnetic discharge.
What the ancients called the thunderbolts of Zeus.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen here. Only worse, because we have an actual atmosphere. And a lot of electric stuff running around on the ground. Telephone poles are going to catch fire. And the wires on them will melt and hit the ground. This is already happening.
And wood houses, you said, will just burn up?
Eventually, yeah, because of the heat. Once the poles start, the rest of the pole shift switches, and we lose our electromagnetic shield entirely. You're getting UVA, UVB, and UVC, plus ultraviolet. It's going to be pouring down on the surface. It's like taking your house and sticking it in a microwave.
So I don't know if Dr. Taylor is aware that the pioneers were not permitted to build houses of wood. They were instructed to use stone or brick or some other substance to build their houses. That was 100 years ago.
Okay. You say it's going to happen in August, so we're saying there is no more time to prepare, or we have 1 week, we have 3 weeks. What do you predict? Getting from
I'm predicting the 11th.
Where it is now. I'm sorry?
I'm predicting the 11th is when it's going to become to the point where nobody can ignore it. mean, we can already see.
So what happens? You said already we can see the evidence in the sunrise and sunset.
Yep. When our
what do we look
lights them up
there?
They're round globes. They look like well, the last time I looked, they were about maybe a tenth the size of the moon on the side of the sun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are the
and they're only getting bigger.
Planet. Okay.
And like I said, the one that's supposed to swing by us, which apparently it does every time, is more than 4 times the size of Jupiter. They've speculated that the asteroid belt between us and Jupiter used to be a planet that got hit dead on. That's what created the asteroid belt.
Wow.
And they've got names for these. They're written on the walls of the pyramids.
Okay. So we can see
the one that looking at the beta, we're pushing between 100 and 200, which is very unhealthy. Basically, when it comes to the beta stuff, 12 has become the norm for background, even though it used to be 0.02 before they started playing with bombs. And we're getting readings a couple hundred. The worst of the fallout from Fukushima that hit the West Coast was putting out numbers in 700, and that's Bakersfield, California. And they have over 100 people a week dying there. And this has been going on for 2 years. All the news media places and whatnot moved out of there. That's how bad it is. They just relocated because you can't survive it.
Where do they get
Not
to the
over
map?
the long term.
I know radwatch.info and HARP status. What are some of the sites that people can find the maps other than like say the Facebook groups?
The easiest one to get to is called NetC. www.netc.com. There's a bunch of radioactive signs there. You put your mouse on it, click on it, and it'll tell you what it's reading.
But by city, by region?
No, these are sites that are on the across the entire U.S., but they're monitor sites. They don't give you every town. They don't give you every city. These are where their monitors are.
That are available or viewed.
To look at for live readings.
Yeah.
If you go to the EPA, their site all their monitoring goes to a server, and then they dish up edited RADs. What I post in my group at World Radiation Rising is I go directly to the equipment, and I pull the equipment directly. I do a screen capture and save it. So I get the actual readings.
WorldRadiationRising.com?
No, that's on Facebook. It's my group on Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Okay.
Yeah, Facebook search. Is it a closed group? It'll still show up on the search engines.
It'll show up on the search. I'd have to add you. I had to do that because they tried to crash it.
Sure.
And we had people I added that came in and started deleting stuff.
Now, the people in Europe are saying the chemtrails, a lot of people who study this for years are saying the chemtrails are to prevent us from seeing what's actually,
That's where one of the government's gone wrong. They've built these really deep bunkers. They're going to get crushed. You don't want to be deep underground any more than you want to be out on the surface.
Right. Right. They frack themselves. Go ahead, Dr. Taylor, or Dennis.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Dennis, and I want to welcome you to this special presentation. It's probably your friends to the site, have them update themselves. We are talking about, folks, a major event that has been suppressed through the media and through all information outlets. I have with me a specialist who is totally knowledgeable. The most important that you will ever hear, because it affects all of us, everybody in the world. And I just learned about that issue this morning, and I thought we better get some information out to everyone and put it in archives so you can send people. I'll ask her to explain her background. We're not going to use names at this point, but there are some pictures that will be attached probably later on. So you will be able to access those, and she will be describing those things as we go. If you're on the internet, you will be able to see the pictures as she goes along. I want to turn the time over now to a specialist who has considered